Anyway, let's start the talk. I'm going to talk about responding to a double, and I'm going to look at doubles of a suit, which are is normally for takeout, and doubles of no trump, which is normally for penalty. And the slides I'll be using are slides from my handout on basic bidding. And if I switch to the this screen here, if you go to my website, bridgeclass.co.uk, there's a copy of my basic bidding guide to ACOL. And if you click on that, you can bring up this 2 pages and you can print that out. And what we're going to be talking about this evening is the red section at the bottom here. Double what it shows, and then responding to a double of suit and responding to a double of one no trump. And I'll be using this the wording of this handout pretty much word for word in the slides I'll be looking at. So let me switch back to the slideshow. And if you're watching this video on YouTube afterwards and you wish to join in my weekly lessons, you can. Is there a problem here? Okay. You can send an email to that address on the screen, and I'll add you to the link to join these lessons. So this is the handout, and that's the second page, and we're basically going to be referring to the bottom half there, that red section. And I'll go through this fairly quickly because I think most of you are familiar with most of this. So when your partner doubles a suit, they're normally expecting you to respond in your longest suit. And if you've got 0 to 8 points, it's normal to bid your longest suit at the lowest level. If you have 9 or more points, you should think about bidding your longest suit jumping a level. And with 13 or more points, you should either bid your longest suit, jumping to game in a major, or another thing you can sometimes do is to Q bid the opponent's suit, bid the opponent's suit. That's a forcing bid, asking your partner to make another bid. And we'll look at an example of when that comes up. The other thing to mention is, although you normally bid your longest suit, if you have perhaps a 5-card minor but a 4-card major, it could be right to bid the major because your partner really should be looking to find a fit in the major suit rather than perhaps an equal length or perhaps even longer minor suit. The other thing you can do when your partner doubles a suit is if you have a stopper in the opponent's suit and your hand seems suited, with 6 to 9 points, you can respond 1 no trump, bid 2 no trump if you're 10 to 12 points. Really, you should have 2 stoppers for that bid, or 3 no trump if you've got 13 or more points with a couple of stoppers in the opponent's suit. The other thing covered on that sheet is how to respond to a double of a suit after an intervening bid. So we'll look at this in a moment, but if the third person's bid raises open a suit or bids a new suit, you are now off the hook. You don't have to bid with 0 to 5 points. But if you've got 6 to 9 points, you should be willing to bid at the 2 level, 10 to 12 points, bid at the 3 level. And with 13 or more points, you should be thinking about bidding game in a major, or perhaps bidding the opponent's suit, Q bidding, to find out more about your partner's hand. So let's look at a few examples of this. Here, North has opened 1 heart, and this is a hand where E should almost certainly make a double for takeout. You have almost a perfect shape for it. You've got 4 spades, 4 clubs, only 3 diamonds, but it's pretty much the ideal shape. You have what's technically called a tolerance for diamonds, and you obviously want your partner to bid their best suit, and presumably you will have a fit somewhere. If you do double, let's suppose South passes, and let's suppose your partner bids 1 spade, and now North bids 2 hearts. Well, you've got a fit in spades here, but you shouldn't get too excited because that one spade bid shows 0 to 8 points. So you almost certainly don't have a fit. You almost certainly don't have enough points for game. And it's very likely in this kind of bidding situation that both sides have got about 20 points. So I'd be quite happy to bid 2 spades here, but wouldn't go any higher than that. Now that might end the auction, or the opponents may go on. The computer analysis on this hand says that East-West can make 2 spades. North-South could make 3 hearts or possibly 2 hearts, depending on how they play. So in any case, you're at the last point where you want to be bidding 2 spades. That's the last contract you're likely to be able to make. You may force them into 3 hearts, and they may go down. So but you don't want to be looking for game here, as your partner, as you can see, has only got 6 points here. How about this? How about if it goes 1 heart? Again, you've got the same hand, 2 hearts, and this time your partner bids 2 spades. Well, here the point count for bidding at the 2 level is something like 6 to 9 points. So again, you have a spade fit here, but you don't have enough points for game. So if they bid 3 hearts, it's not necessarily clear that you should be bidding any more. In fact, on this particular layout, the computer analysis says that North-South can make 2 hearts, East-West can make 2 spades. And in fact, both sides can make the same number of tricks as the number of trumps that they have. North-South have got an 8-card heart fit, and East-West have got an 8-card spade fit. So actually, if you, in this situation, if you're following the law of total tricks, you should only really compete to the level of your combined trumps. And with only 8 trumps, it's actually best to defeat the opponents in 3 hearts than to bid 3 spades, which would go down 1 trick almost certainly.
Tony,
Yes, Yogesh.
Yogesh here. So this, when your the opponents bid 2 hearts, and it came to your partner, because it's an intervening bid, could they have just passed if they didn't have the points?
Who?
West.
Uh,
No, yeah, West.
Yeah. So if West had, say, 0 to 5 points, then they should pass. But here they've got 7 points, and they've got a 4-card spade fit, so they show that 6 to 9 points by bidding 2 spades.
And do they, if there is no intervening bid, regardless of points, should they always say something?
So if it had gone, as in the previous example, 1 heart double, if South had passed, then West would bid 1 spade, right?
Yeah.
Showing 0 to 8 points.
Right.
Incidentally, you may notice here that South is a little bit weaker than you might expect to bid 2 hearts, and it is normal after an intervening double to bid a little more aggressively. And as long as you and your partner have that understanding, the 2 heart bid could be a bit weaker than it normally is. Here it's only 4 points and only 3 hearts, although you do have a doubleton. So this will be a normal bidding sequence. As you can see, both sides have got about 20 points here. Both sides have got an 8-card trump fit, and the best you can do is to bid 2
It's
spades and then
interesting you
pass
say that,
3
Tony,
hearts.
because even though the note started with 1 heart, you don't know whether it's got 5 hearts, right?
You
So although
don't.
there's a fit with South,
That's right.
it's okay. So that's interesting that because of the double, you can expect that he can have a 7-card
Well,
fit.
so just to let you know, there is another topic, right? Many people, even without an intervening double, would bid 2 hearts with that hand. Normally, you like to have 4-card support to raise your partner's suit, but here with roughing values and 3 hearts, you might bid 2 hearts anyway. I wouldn't expect a beginner to do that, but certainly more advanced players would definitely
Okay,
want to
thank
bid in
you.
that situation.
Thank you.
Now, if you pass that 3 heart bid, that's not necessarily the end of the auction. I've changed the West hand a bit here. Still only has 7 points, but has a 5th spade. And now your partner, Wes, should probably be imagining that you have a likely 9-card trump fit, and so should be more inclined to bid here. And they should probably bid 3 spades here. And on this particular layout, the computer has found that 3 hearts can make 9 tricks. 2 spades, sorry, 3 spades might go down 1, but bidding 3 spades is a better result, only going down 1, than letting the opponents make 3 hearts. Or you may find, of course, by bidding 3 spades, that the opponents bid 4 hearts, and that you're able to defeat that. But this is an example of West assuming that their partner's got a 4-card spade fit, 4 cards in spades, should bid 1 level higher because they are imagining that there's a better trump fit between them. So other things to think about when you're bidding in these kind of competitive auctions is to bid more aggressively if you're not vulnerable, bid a bit more cautiously if you are vulnerable, and if you don't think your opponents are likely to double you, you can bid more aggressively. If you're playing against better opponents who might decide to double you, which would be for penalty at that point, then perhaps you should be a bit more conservative. Let's have a look at a few examples, and I've got a few polls coming up here. And let's take a look at this one where North has opened 1 spade, East has doubled, South passed, and I'd like you to think what you think West should bid with this hand. So you've got 11 points there, and the question is, what do you think West should bid with this hand? Let's have a look at the responses. And the most popular responses were, let's see, 3 hearts and 2 hearts, almost equally, followed by 2 no trump, 1 no trump, pass, and something else. One person said something else. If you're that person, you can unmute yourselves and tell me what you think you should bid. But if we switch back to the hand, well, although you could respond no trump with this hand, I think a much better bid is to bid hearts here. Your partner, don't forget, is probably very short in spades. Although you do have a spade stopper, you almost certainly have an 8-card heart fit. And I think you should bid hearts. And it's a mistake to bid 2 hearts here, because 2 hearts is bidding a suit at the lowest level, and it shows just 0 to 8 points. With 9 to 12 points, if you bid hearts, you should bid 3 hearts, and that's my choice. 2 no trump would be a possibility there, showing 10 to 12 points with a spade stopper, but that might not do very well if the opponents, are able to run their spade. So if you do show 9 to 12 points by jumping to 3 hearts, your partner then with 16 points should realize they almost certainly have enough for game here, and you should end up in 4 hearts, which, according to the computer, should make +1. So the mistake of bidding just 2 hearts with there, responding to a double by bidding a suit at the lowest level, is one of the most common mistakes I see in bridge bidding. A lot of people are, I don't know if they're frightened or they forget, but if you have more than 8 points, you should be thinking about jumping the bidding to show that. If you just bid 2 hearts, your partner should take it for 0 to 8 points. Here's another hand where you might be thinking about doubling. Again, not quite perfect distribution, as you've only got 3 hearts, but nonetheless, if they open 1 diamond, I think double is a good bid here. And if it comes round to your partner, they actually have equal preference for the 2 majors. Now, in this situation, rather than just picking a major and bidding perhaps game or making a strong invitation in three spades or three hearts, the other thing you can do is to Q bid the opponent's suit. You bid two diamonds here. Now, that can never be a natural bid, of course. And I like to use that bid in this kind of situation to ask your partner to pick their better suit. Here they have four spades and only three hearts. They might have five in one suit and four in the other, and they would bid their better suit here. So you bid two diamonds because you could support either major, and then when your partner bids their better suit, two spades, here I think I'm going to jump to four spades, especially as it seems like I likely have a fit in both majors, a double fit, even though it's only 12 points in high cards. I think I want to be in four spades there. And on this particular layout, you'll do better in spades according to the computer, making four spades, whereas you might not do so well with only a 7-card heart fit bidding, and you might only make three hearts.
So Tony, Yogesh here again with the Q bid. I've never seen that, but I understand it. If you had done the Q bid, the two diamonds, but the North, the opponents don't pass, Q bid is forcing, isn't it? So what does East do then?
Well, the East has done what he's done.
No, but if the North hadn't passed,
Well, so what? Suppose maybe North bid three diamonds.
yeah,
Yeah. Well, if I were East, I would bid three spades.
okay.
Okay. So most people play that the two diamond bid is should show enough points for game. Some people like to say it could be a little bit weaker, but it's definitely a strong bid. So, by the way, if on this hand West does bid two diamonds, North could make another bid rather than pass or three diamonds. They could actually double the two diamonds. Now, that's not saying that they expect to defeat two diamonds because they know the opponents are going to bid something else. But a double of an artificial bid, like a Q bid here, should be lead directing. And it's really saying to South, partner, if you end up on lead against perhaps a spade contract or some other contract, my diamonds are good enough that I want you to lead my diamonds. So,
Tony,
yes,
surely
hello,
they
hello.
leave diamonds anyway because North bid them.
Indeed. So that you'd expect South to lead a diamond in any situation, but I was just saying if you do double an artificial bid, it would be saying I really have nice diamonds and I definitely want you to lead them. Don't think of doing anything else. But you're right. Keep your partner happy by leading their suit. Here's a very similar one where the West hand is identical. It's here it went one diamond, double two diamonds, and West you've got the same hand, and this time you want to Q bid, and of course you do that by bidding three diamonds. And then that says to your partner, please pick your better suit, better major in particular, and you should end up in a four spade contract there. So that's a summary. Sorry, that's looking at doubles of a suit and responding to them. The other thing I wanted to look at is doubles of one no trump and responding to a double of one no trump. So a double of an opening bid of one no trump is intended as a penalty double, and it should normally show 16 or more points, or perhaps a slightly weaker hand where you believe you can defeat one no trump. Incidentally, if the opponents are playing a different range for an opening bid of one no trump, some people play 15 to 17, the double should basically indicate that you are at the top end of the one no trump bidder, or you have typically more points, one or 2 points more at least than the opening one no trump. It's sort of saying based on the first two bids that you and your partner may should have the hand here, that you're more likely to have more points than the opponents. Anyway, the double of one no trump is for penalty, And normally your partner should pass that. But if they have a very weak hand, perhaps 0 to 4 points, and their own long suit, they can bid two of their longest suit. If you think about it, if you're relying on your partner to have 16 or more points, but you've only got a couple of points, you should be worried that the opponents will make one no trump doubled. And you're pulling the double because you have a very weak hand and you have a long suit. And you're thinking, well, we may not be able to defeat one no trump, so I'm saying let's try two of my long suit. So let's have a look at some examples of this. Here, North has opened one no trump, and what should East bid with that hand? Well, I know a lot of players will automatically think about bidding two spades here, but you have 17 points, and I think a much better bid is to double. The double is for penalties, and as well as you have every expectation that you're going to defeat one no trump doubled and get a good score. On this hand in particular, if that ends up as a final contract and you double, then you have an excellent opening lead of the king of spades. You'll knock out the ace and then get back in with your one of your aces, and you should be able to defeat one no trump. Now, let's suppose it went one no trump, you doubled, and let's suppose South passed, although we'll come back to that in a moment. I've got the next pole, which is what do you think West should bid with this hand? So it's gone one no trump, double, pass. What do you think West should bid? It's the second pole. What should West bid on this hand? Something strange has happened there. Let's well, I can't. Something strange has happened with that screen. I can't bring up the results, but I can tell you that the most popular response with 54% was two clubs, 6% said two no trump, and 40% said pass. And I think pass is the right bid there. Let's, if I close that window, if you think about it, with that hand, even though you've only got 6 points, your partner should have 16 points or more. So you have the balance of points there. Typically, you'll have 22 points, and you would not expect the opponents to make one no trump. So I think you should pass on this hand. It's a mistake, I'm saying, to bid two clubs, which is what most of you chose. If I put up likely hands, this hand playing in one no trump by North should go down two tricks. And you would get a good score for defeating one no trump by two tricks. That would be a score of 300 or 500, depending on the vulnerability. So don't bid two clubs on this hand. With 6 points, you should be passing. Now, I said that South here actually may well not pass here. And in fact, South should not pass. And if it went one no trump doubled, South here with a 5-card heart suit should escape. The bidding in response to one no trump here and after the double, systems like transfers and Stayman are off unless you have agreed you want to play those. So playing naturally, you would bid two hearts, which is a natural bid, a sign-off bid, saying that's where I want to play it. And if that is the case, then you hope to do much better playing this in two hearts than in one no trump doubled. If you're playing some other system like I recommend for example, Halmik defense, you could bid this in another way. But playing naturally, you would just bid two hearts here. Now, of course, on this particular hand, if it goes around to two hearts, East is not going to pass that because they have a very nice spade suit and they should bid two spades. And that may well be the final auction. West, you should realize what your partner's bidding is showing. The double is showing that they had 16 or more points. And then the two spade bid probably means they've got a good spade suit. So you're quite happy to play it there. Two spades by East-West should make +1, making 9 tricks. Two hearts, if they're left to play there, might go down by 1 trick, although North-South can also make 2 diamonds according to the computer. Trump, if you have any questions on that. Let's have a look at this one. This is the last poll of the evening. Here it's gone 1 no Trump. Again, your partner's doubled, pass, and it's come over to you here. And the final question again is, what do you think West should bid with this hand? A moment what the responses are. Let me end that. And most of you this time have gone for 2 clubs, 65% with 35% going for pass. And let's switch back. And yes, that is correct here. Although your partner has got 16 points or more, you've only got 3 points here. And you should be concerned that you may not defeat 1 no Trump, and they may get a good score if they make 1 no Trump doubled. So this time, even though you're weaker than on the previous hand, it's probably a better idea to bid 2 clubs here. That says, partner, I've got a very weak hand, probably 0 to 4 points. I've got my own club suit, at least a 5-card suit that should be. And so I'm pulling the double. I'm bidding 2 clubs. And if you do bid that, East may well decide to bid 2 spades, or it turns out their best action is actually to pass and that you play it in 2 clubs with this hand. I ran the analysis of what's makeable on this particular layout, and North-South can make 1 no Trump doubled, or 2 hearts. East-West can make 2 clubs, or would probably go down 1 in 2 spades. So it turns out the best contract for East-West to be in is actually 2 clubs. And this is the kind of hand that when your partner bids a suit in response to a double, this is the kind of hand they're showing, a very weak hand with it should be their own suit. By the way, if West is very weak but has no long suit of their own, it's got just a flat hand, then they have to pass. There's nothing they can bid if they don't have at least a 1 5-card suit. Any questions on that? So that's a summary of responding to a double of 1 no Trump, and hope you can remember that if you're not familiar with it. Just before we end the talk, I just wanted to summarize the rules for alerting. So if a double of no Trump is made for penalty, then that double is not alerted. And similarly, doubles of suit bids that are for takeout are not alertable, but the opposite are alertable. So if you had a system where doubles of no Trump are for takeout, that's alertable. And doubles of suit bid at a low level that are for penalty are also alertable. So you should do that in face-to-face bridge or whether you're playing online. One other point I wanted to mention as well, when you're playing online, dummy's not meant to speak except in very specific cases. And in particular, I sometimes see dummies tell declarer that they can claim, and dummy is not really allowed to do that. Dummy's not, you're not allowed to say to declarer, oh, you've got all these tricks. That's not allowed. Declarer may not know, may not be aware of that, and you're not allowed to help them. I would also ask that defenders should generally not claim or concede. Although you can do it on real bridge as a defender, it is often quite confusing, especially for the defender's partner, the other defender, because they will get a request to accept a claim and they really don't know, can't work out what's going on a lot of the time. So I'd just ask you not to claim or concede unless you are declarer, because it can be confusing. You're not meant to talk to your partner during the auction or play, and undue requests are meant to be made only as a result of a misclick and not for a change of mind. So you shouldn't really be asking for them if you sort of realized you think for a while and then realize you've not made the right bid. However, in a friendly game like this, I would ask you to accept most undue requests. Unless you think it's clearly wrong, or they're violating you can decline it, but it's more friendly if you just accept the request if you think people may have done a misclick. And of course, remember to be welcome your opponents every round, and to thank them at the end of the round. So that was all I wanted to talk about. I'll end the talk there. Any questions anyone has about that? I'll stop sharing my screen with you, and the game will be starting in about 10 minutes. So if you need a partner, just join the game and call me over and I'll come and find you a partner. So thank you all very much, and see you online.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.